Hello everyone, my name is Antonia, this is PerryPictures, and I don't know who needed to hear this, I know that I needed to hear it, but it is time to update that character sheet from so many years ago, especially if there's something about it that just makes you cringe, like, oh, I don't know, the hands here. Oh my god, they're so terrible. And then, of course, this wardrobe, those socks over the leggings, just no. I should not be allowed to reuse this, but I did several times, in fact, after creating it first in May of 2017 and then repurposing it for another RP group, this time as a pixie. At least the wings are cool. But that wasn't all. Again, in 2019, I reused the same old art, and I have to say, it is just time to put this to rest. If you are anything like me, it takes you forever to draw your own characters, but you can spend absolutely days drawing other people's. And of course, I have no idea why that is, but when it comes to my own character reference sheets, they tend to be pretty sparse. But not today. Today we are redesigning this character. We are going to upgrade her, so to speak, but before we can get into what we're changing with her design or improving, we first need to know a little bit about who she is. So hear her story in her own words.
My story? Oh god, you don't even want to know. It's so cliche, it's disgusting. Alright, I'll tell you, but try not to roll your eyes. It does get better as it goes on. So basically, I grew up in an orphanage, cue the world's tiniest island, like a lot of other street rats, but never mind that. I didn't get all misty-eyed thinking about my long-lost mom and pops. Screw 'em. They left me there, why should I miss them? Moving on. I graduated high school with a clean record, though I did toe the line a lot, got into a lot of minor upsets, but either they couldn't afford to send me to a detention camp, or they thought there were worse kids out there than me because I got through it. Wasn't anyone's teacher's pet. Wasn't even the kid teachers forgot was in the classroom. I was that other kind, in the back of the room, never turning in assignments but acing every test. In other words, every teacher's nightmare. The kid with potential who's throwing it all away. I've heard the spill, and I still don't care. Society's twisted and playing their game was never my bag. Been out of matriculation for a year now. I'm working my first job to pay for food, gas, and car, while I bum a pull-out bed at night from one of the lucky ones who got adopted in their late teens. Now he's 24, works as a clerk for that bargain food mart across from Shelley's Diner. He's also a pothead, and my clothes always reek of weed, but I don't complain about the smell, and he never asks how long I plan on staying, so we're cool. Oh, right, that's my job. Easy. I'm a dishwasher at Shelley's. 24-hour diner, like Denny's, except, not a national franchise like them. I work the third shift since it's the best time of day to experience the fewest number of customers, but the next morning, though, countless wave after wave of endless scum in the sink, I'm usually pruning up to my elbows by the time my shift ends and asking myself, is this worth it? So why sign up for a reality TV show? Are you serious? That's like asking why sugar when you can have Splenda. I want the good stuff. I don't need fancy proverbs to make me feel good about my place in life. That crock is for the birds. I'm sick and tired of making lemonade out of lemons and selling it for a nickel a cup. That's never gonna get any of us anywhere. Taking big risks and exposing your skin to the fire is the way to get over that hump and out of the dump. And you can quote me on that too.
Well, that's Morticia Kipling for you, and she's had it pretty rough, so I think she deserves a little bit of a makeover. She is a modern pixie, so consider this part of a cryptid's AU or alternate universe where it would be fairly normalized for a supernatural being to participate in the day-to-day of society. In her story, she does mention at the very end there that she is joining a game show, so wish her the best of luck with that. For this updated character reference sheet, I did decide to go with a completely different outfit from what she had before. I think we've seen more than enough of that one. Although I do still really like the jacket and the elongated turtleneck sweater, so I thought both of those were worth keeping in the closet, but for now, we are going to try on something a little different. The hairstyle hasn't changed too much. The necklaces are pretty much the same, but now she is wearing a crop top with puffy sleeves off the shoulder, and some high-waisted MC Hammer style pants. Even though you can't tell yet that they are MC Hammer pants, you will definitely see that development when we get over to the full body picture to the left, where we're going to include the wings as well. Competing with the hands for most improved part of this drawing, I would say the face is right up there alongside that. I tried to keep her as recognizable as possible while still improving the technique and way that I stylized her facial features. I don't know why I have to go and make things so darn hard on myself, but one of the things that I definitely pushed myself and challenged myself to do this time around was draw her pants yet again in a very awkward and unusual way. So let's go ahead and take a look at that struggle. And in my defense, I will say this is posting on July 1st of this year's Artfight, and you may be seeing it the day of, you might be seeing it after the fact, but I did draw this last night on June 30th, which means I was feeling the pressure to complete this character reference sheet before the kickoff. And I did manage to pull it off, so, you know, a little minor victory for me here, but it was difficult, and I don't feel like my brain was firing on all cylinders. I might have been, you know, maybe a little distracted by looking at all the other characters that everyone else was posting and bookmarking some favorites and downloading those favorites in preparation for the Artfight traffic jam on July 1st so that I could have a handful ready to reference offline so that I can draw my attacks. And if that is actually why you're watching this video right now, because the Artfight website is down thanks to all of the traffic, then I cordially invite you to draw this character right here, right in this video, and make an attack on Morticia. I'll even include her direct link to her Artfight profile down in the description below. I did decide to draw this new version of her reference sheet using Procreate on my iPad, but it wasn't my first choice. To be honest, I first started this originally on the computer using Sketchbook Pro, which is my go-to program and the one that I have the most tutorials for on my YouTube channel. However, I did recently replace my computer with a new one and the software was not running correctly, and I felt like I didn't have time to work out the kinks, so I grabbed my handy-dandy, very versatile and mobile tablet so that I could go ahead and draw this. And I think this year I will probably do a lot of my attacks on the iPad as well using Procreate. There are some really fantastic brushes in Procreate as well, so it's really fun, especially when it comes to coloring. I feel like I'm able to do my shading and highlighting in a very unique way with this software, so we're gonna see that here in a moment, but it's definitely something I look forward to applying to my attacks this year. And the only real downside to switching to this program for this drawing that we are doing right now on screen is that I had to use a different brush because it is a different program for the wings. Previously, I had drawn the wings using a really cool custom brush from Sketchbook Pro, and this time I'm gonna have to find an alternative for the wings, so we'll see how that pans out in the end. I'm sure it's going to be just as unique, just as fun, just as gorgeous and glowy, but it is gonna look different, so that's my disclaimer right here, right now. So if nothing else, I can at least say I told you so in advance. I do think for this one I made the hair a little bit longer, but since it's been 5 years since the previous drawing, we can at least say canonically that her hair has had enough time to grow. And before I forget, let's take a look at the hands here, because these are a huge step forward compared to what we had before in 2017, and I think I'd be kicking myself if they weren't, because it has been quite a while. So here we're going to switch over to the screen share version of this recording, since my cell phone didn't want to record any more of my hands. It just had enough. It called it quits. It just died on me. I don't know how to put it any other way. So we're going to look at this from this point of view moving forward for the remainder of the coloring process, which is really all that's left. So we have our flats. I'm here working on some shading. I did decide to go with a purple color for my shading, and I'm just using a regular old-fashioned multiply layer. And that brush that I was talking about, a shading and highlighting brush that I found in the Procreate software that I really like, that I think has a really unique look. I like the streakiness of it. I like that it's still pretty opaque and blendable, but it does give you hard edges where you want them. So there's a lot of flexibility with this one, and I'm really happy that I get to use it. It's also quick. At least I feel like it's a really quick way to throw down a lot of different dimension in your piece without having to be super, precise. That said, I will be using the exact same brush for highlights as I may have already mentioned, but I won't be using the same color. So we're using the purple here for the shading. It's a nice cool tone color. It makes sense that it would be a shadowy color. Not to mention it's the same tone as her shirt, so we're getting a lot of that repetition and being able to pull the color back in and create cohesion and unity. But for the highlights, we are not doing that. We are using more of a warm color, more of that orange that I color picked from her eye color. And I mean, she's supposed to have more of like an amber colored eye, but it does look pretty much orange, but I like it. It's got that tiger kind of like intensity, but again, that's the same color that I am applying as my highlight color. I'm adding a little bit of texture by spackling it in a little bit instead of just doing smooth brush strokes, so that's why it's coming out differently here. And last but not least, I do add one more layer of highlight on top of my layer of hierarchy, and this is set to color dodge blend mode and using the Studio Pen, which can be found in the brush library under the inking brush set. I go over these at full opacity using the purple for highlight this time, just so I can get a little bit more variety in my reflective colors and highlights. Speaking of the color palette here, I am obviously borrowing as much as possible from the original source material, except for the shoes. I did not give her white shoes this time. I just thought that it was not my best decision that I ever made. But to be fair, I don't think anybody's really looking at her shoes when she's showing off those very colorful wings. So let's go ahead and look at those and figure out what kind of brush I used to emulate or try to recreate this look. I will say that they did not turn out the same. They are very different, but I like both versions, so I'm happy with it either way. And I was able to pull that same color from the original piece, not here, but in a moment you'll see. I actually lock pixels on these wings and go back over them with a solid brush and reapply that light purplish pink color to the wings so that we're able to keep that consistent. Being completely honest, I did not expect this to be such a huge endeavor. I drew 2 poses for this character reference. I also do put in the flat colors for like a little reference palette off to the side here in a moment. So if you are looking to pull this character to draw on Artfight, the palette will be there, just like this will be up on my Artfight characters page. But the amount of work just 2 poses took was really shocking because I feel like I run through other people's characters so quickly. I don't know if it's just a matter of inspiration or motivation or whatever the case might be, but drawing these was super hard. So I really appreciate you sticking with it to the end of the video because this was a long one. The process was long and the video was long as a result. So again, I hope you enjoyed seeing the evolution of this character, and here I am adding her to the page as promised so that you can attack her on Artfight if that is something you're interested in doing. If you liked this video, please remember to like this video by giving it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel because I am making art and animation content all the time, including a lot of Artfight videos. I even have a whole playlist at this point, so do check that out if that's something that you're interested in seeing, and I wish you the best of luck on Artfight this year and in the years to come. If you do have any questions, let me know down in the comments below, and I will see you next time.